You know, I watch several MGTOW videos throughout the day, man, and we focus on issues such as feminism. You know, something that started off as a good thing, but it's headed in a radical direction. We talk about the nature of women. We talk about how the court systems are favored for women. But guys, there's one thing that we aren't discussing, and I think it's going to have a significant impact on the effect of the relationship between men and women. Now, I'm not one that dabbles a lot in Greek mythology, but there's always been this one story that has captivated me, and it's the story of Medusa. Now, when we think about Medusa, we automatically think about this monster of a woman with snakes coming out of her head, and she turned men to stone when she made eye contact with them. But there's way much more to this story that I think applies to today, man. See, if you look at the entire story of Medusa, she was originally named, you know, one of the most beautiful, one of the most virtuous women in the land. Now, there came a point where Medusa was raped by one of the most evil men in the land, Poseidon. And after this rape took place, she began to go through this transition. She began to take on evil traits of this man and couldn't even stand to look at herself. It was said that Medusa would take her fingers and just claw her skin. It was said that she would take plugs of her hair out to the point where it appeared like snakes were coming out of her head. Medusa was eventually exiled to an island and eventually murdered by being beheaded. Now, why am I telling you this? This is why. In 2004, there was a study conducted after a strand of male DNA was found in the brain of a woman. Now, scientists had no idea how it got there. But after examining over 120 women, they discovered that when a woman is pregnant with a male child and gives birth to a male child, the part of his DNA remains in her body forever. Now, what baffled the doctors is that women who were included in the study that didn't have male children, or women in the study that had never been pregnant at all, still had this male DNA inside of them. So doctors were pretty much at a loss. It was ultimately discovered, man, that the DNA found in these women's body was from their previous sexual partners. Now, let's talk about DNA for a second. DNA covers, you know, everything from the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we act, the way we think, our appetites, our desires. And at some point in history, it was discovered that DNA controlled the way we communicate with others. You know, that's how, you know, I'm sure you've heard of stories of a mother that she can kind of instinctively feel when her son is kind of going through bad times or her son is in trouble. She can feel that without even talking to him. That's due to the DNA that's passed through her body when he's born. Now, the study went on to show that not only were the DNA strands in these women's body for the rest of their lives, but this DNA went through this process called quantum entanglement, where not only did the DNA just rest inside of their bodies, it began to infuse with theirs, becoming one strand of DNA. You know, in other words, these women didn't only start taking on traits of these men. They actually started becoming these men. And that goes back to what it says in the Bible. It talks about, you know, when two come together, they become one flesh. That's exactly what they're saying. Now, let's fast forward to today, man. 2017. You know, a young man that's looking for a woman, you know, it's almost impossible for him to find a young woman that hasn't been touched in that manner. In other words, a woman that's a virgin. You know, this day and age, when a woman is 20 years old, she's already had at least 3 or 4 partners. By the time she's 30, she's had at least 12 to 15. And by the time she's 40 or 45, you know, she's completely lost count. And it's a shame. Now, let's use an example. Let's say a woman's body is a pure bucket of water, right? Now, let's say we take a cap of bleach and pour bleach in that water. That bleach becomes, you know, that water now just becomes a vast amount of bleach water, right? Now, let's take another clear, pure bucket of water, right? And let's pour some ammonia in it. Now, that water then just becomes a vast amount of ammonia water. But this where it gets funny, man. Let's take a bucket of water again, clean bucket of water. Now let's pour bleach in that water, right? Now let's pour ammonia in that water. What do you have? You have poison, man. Let's take that same bucket of water with bleach in it and ammonia in it. Now let's add some detergent. Let's add some acid. Let's add 10 to 20 other chemicals. What do you have? You have a freaking monster, man. Guys, I hate to say it, but the women we're dealing with today are freaking monsters. I mean, we are in a time, man, we're pretty much just dealing with modern day Medusas. You know, and that's why it's so important to know, you know, who you're dealing with when you're dealing with a woman. It's important to know this woman's, you know, sexual background. You know, I was thinking about something. You know, I know so many. I mean, I know tons of women, right? They're educated. They have good careers. They have homes. They're doing all this positive stuff in the world. But when it comes to a man, they always want to resort back to this thug, you know, this thug mentality guy, a guy with no job, a guy that has nothing going for himself. And now I understand why that is. It's because, you know, a lot of these women, when they were growing up, when they were teens, when they were in their 20s, they were dealing with just ignorant men. So now that they've made certain decisions in their life, this DNA is a part of them now. It's not that they're attracted to this thug guy. That's who they are. I mean, if you get a woman who's just been promiscuous, let's say if you get a woman who's been with several men, you know, several one-night stands, guys that she's been with that have had no emotional tie to her. By the time she gets ready to settle down, she won't be able to, because it won't be who she is. Her identity will be of the men that she's been with. There's no way she'll be able to love you, because her mindset will be, she'll have a one-night stand mindset. I mean, if you get with a woman and all of her exes are either have been to prison or have been shot dead, guys, you're dealing with a very unstable woman. That's why it's very important that you know who you're dealing with. You know, I think about how it was said that Medusa used to rip her face up and pull plugs of her hair out just because she couldn't stand to look at herself. You know, I think that's the same thing that's going on today, man. I mean, I know some of the most beautiful women. They feel like they have a need to put all this makeup on their face or put all this stuff in their hair. In some cases, somebody else's hair in their head. And they really don't need to. You know, it's not that I don't think these women know they're not beautiful, know that they're not beautiful. I think these women are just so humiliated with their spirits that something inside of them is just trying to cover all of that up. You know? I don't know, man. I don't know. And, you know, I was also thinking about, you know, when a man gets married now, you know, when a man and a woman get married and they go to a church and they're walking down the aisle and everything seems so lovely. You know, when you really think about it, when you tie what religion has showed us, when you use what science has now showed us, that woman 9 times out of 10, if she's already been with a partner, this woman is already married. So instead of you and a woman walking down the aisle, it's you and really 30 or 40 other people walking right with you spiritually. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. You know, so we talk about all these issues that affect us guys, but I really feel that if we take a look at this, man, this is going to be, you know, one of the key points on why things are so crappy right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out the side of my neck, man. I don't know. And I'm going to leave some videos, some videos in the description box that you have to watch. There's a young lady talking about this when she first discovered this whole DNA process. It's a must watch. I'm also going to leave a few other videos down there to take a look at. So thanks for watching. It's your boy Soul Immortal, and I'm out.